I have a few really nice white Limba or Korina boards. So let's see what they look like and see what we can get out of them. Welcome to Dave's World. So I have some really nice like choice maple for bolt-on style necks. But we've unearthed our Limba. And one piece is kind of darker and streaky. I tend to save that for other projects, but the stuff over here is going to be really clear and nice. So we'll pull out everything and check it all out. This is like my favorite wood to work with. So considering how wide an Explorer is, we obviously have to use this piece for the bottom. Some really long boards here. We can get away with using that whole entire section over there. Beautiful wood, but this unfortunately won't work. So I don't think that there's much I could do with this whole part of the board except maybe do like novelty items like cutting boards or something. So we'll see. But this middle board is pretty incredible. This one though, it still has some black streaks through it. I'll just grab it here. It's very light. It feels like it's made out of styrofoam. It's so good. See, this is the problem if you have structural integrity issues. So we might only get 2 Explorers out of this board. You just have to keep cutting until there's absolutely none of that. So we'll keep going. It's a little bit of work with this chop saw because it's not the biggest or the best, but we'll manage, just staying safe and vigilant of our actions, and that's all we can do. But this won't do. So I wanted to see what this piece looks like for a long time. Let's go over to the table here. Well, maybe the table saw and we'll check it out together. It's kind of good news, bad news. It is beautiful white Limba on like half of the board. The rest is unfortunately a little bit darker and more streaky than I thought. The whole piece is insanely light. So we could still definitely get our Explorers out of this. But the other piece will just have to be like a black Limba project. I already have a couple things in mind. Finishing them up here on the sander. I'm not going to get them down to 1 3/4 yet, but I just want to really see how it looks. Limba's hard to work with the planer. Sometimes the planer will take chunks out of it, so I like to get the thickness right on here. It takes a little longer. Pretty cool. You can't cut curves on a big saw like this, so we just kind of get what we can out of it. But this is going to be, although it may not look it at this point, an Explorer. So yeah, these don't make much sense, but when we do this, they make sense. So we have an Explorer. We'll clamp it across, but we'll just kind of have to make it so the clamps evenly press everything so it glues up really good, which can be the only drawback to cutting them up like this. So obviously a little funky to glue up, but I have some wedges to combat the angles and it'll glue up good. But I'm gonna do this real quick because you don't have a lot of time. Getting there on this one. A lot of work though. Still have to route out like another 50% of the guitar. It's the little things you don't think of. Get everything ready. I want to route the truss rod channel and then glue on the fretboard, which for this guitar, because it's special and it's a Limba Explorer, I did get us a Brazilian rosewood fretboard blank. I'm contemplating doing like the Alan Collins back plate cutout. Pretty much covered in like Brazilian rosewood chunks right now and limba dust, which is really cool. I think I'm gonna get pretty far on this neck today. This neck joint's gonna be absolutely perfect. It's exciting. So I'll go straight in and straight down, and it just fits in really good. No wiggle back and forth. You could just feel a little bit of air between everything just so it can, just enough to move around. I don't think I could pick the guitar up with the neck in it or anything, but it's pretty tight. So I'm just gonna take off a little bit more and then we're gonna glue it up. But I'll save that for later because I kind of wanna get the body and the neck individually finished, or at least kind of close to. Headstock all glued up and everything. And we'll glue up the set neck later. So really exciting. I gotta be careful. This neck profile is gonna be more like a modern kind of like flat kind of back shredder sort of profile with the 12-inch radius and the tall fret wire. And it'll look like a classic Explorer. So still kind of like a wider nut width and a slimmer neck. So it'll be real shredder and like heavy metal friendly. I love this neck profile though. And it's like, just as I play, I kind of think about maybe doing a guitar like this. So this will be the first one I've done with like a truly modern kind of like, instead of your hand being like this, it's kind of more like that. That's what we're going, man. This thing looks like it's just about almost done, like a real Explorer. Except the next, that would be pretty terrifying to pick up a guitar and it just kind of falls apart into two pieces. So we're gonna glue this thing up. Sirens going off in the background. Hey, whatever. I gotta glue this up. So back in the 50s, these were so unpopular. It just would be really interesting to go back and see what that process was like of actually assembling one of these in the 50s and how they were made, what the employees would have thought. Back in 58, they would have been making Les Pauls and, their arch tops and stuff. This must have been really interesting. This will help us with our transportation since it won't fit in our groovy book bag, but it's nice having this case for that, and it is a Gibson case. But that's what'll come with the guitar when it sells. This has got that scuffed look because we just hit it with sealer. This will end up being like the traditional yellowish, kind of brownish, orangey color. I want it to look like the vintage ones, not like the reissues, so it'll be a little bit more orangey brown. But I remember when I walked in my first day, I was 16 years old. I had only worked in like tech school, like high school wood shop. And I saw those cabinets scuffed down all like white and dusty like that. I was like, how are these ever gonna look good? But we'll definitely get this to look good. I know it's crazy, but I did the cow prints, so I can do my logo with tape and paint. I don't have the mother of pearl set up yet, so this is what we're going off of. But I can paint them all different colors. Maybe when we do like a shredder one, we can do like a neon green logo or something. It's like right where the bridge is, it has the most resonance. People think I'm crazy. It's going to be like our last Explorer where we do the Closet Classic kind of cracking, but we're not going to like beat this one up or anything like that. It's just going to look sort of aged. That's why we have it kind of a slightly more orangey kind of tint rather than it being really yellowy. I want it to look like a real vintage one. Once again, I'm not going to show the cracking. It's too graphic. People will be like, oh, geez, that's horrible. But it must be done. So we'll revisit then, but this is a really nice finish. I didn't buff it as high as I usually do or as long as I usually do, simply just to keep it a really nice warm vintage sheen. It's gonna look really good. So 4 seconds into our unpacking of parts, and I already have the table of disaster. But these are from our guy again. These are the Sanchez pickups. Really nice. With these Explorers and the Flying Vs, they're a little bit different. Back in the 50s, Fender used a single ply white pickguard. Really nice, one piece white guard. And that's pretty popular amongst, even like the Les Paul, like the cream guard, it's just a one ply guard, usually. So then there's a 3-ply guard, which is a lot like, you know, a 60s Fender, or I don't know, like most guitars, something like that. But what's quirky about the 50s Korina Flying Vs and Explorers in particular is that they have a 4-ply pick guard. So it's white, black, white, black. So one side's white, one side's black. They're really hard to source for our project, and I just want the pickguard to be really right. Like I say, with our 76 we did, it turned out great. The pickguard, it's like, you gotta make your own pickguard. It makes the guitar, and I don't know, a custom guitar to just slap on a pre-made pickguard, they're never right. And the Explorer pickguards are especially never right. They're always too small, especially around like the outside where the switch is. So ours will be right. Getting a lot closer here on the pickguard. I am absolutely covered in pickguard shavings, but it fits pretty good. Really exciting. Just want to kind of get all the little details right on it, and then we'll move on to making a nut and of course a truss rod. You have to like create your own wiring harness to go from the switch back. The pickups go to the knobs, and then the knobs go to the switch, so it's kind of like a lot of fun, actually. It's wild turning the tuning keys for the first time. Somebody put these big pieces of wood in front of our amp. I don't know why. Yeah, it sounds a lot better with those big pieces of wood moved out of the way. The neck pickup is really good. It may not be a Gibson. It's a Lehr, which is a German name. I always love this end of that solo. Actually, I loved all of this. It just kind of gets that like harmonic nature when you turn the tone all the way down, like Eric Clapton did on that SG a lot. A little bit slammed with custom orders lately, pretty awesome. Our 76 is still available on reverb.com, and usually at this point I would put our 58 up on our Reverb store. I'm gonna hold on to this one for a few weeks or a few months, depending on how many people want to see it in person. I'm gonna kind of use this as like a demo model for a little bit. That mahogany is a little bit more lively sounding. I think the Limba has a little bit more of a defined kind of more like accurate sort of note integrity. It doesn't really kind of have like a lively jangly sound as much as it has like a real tight sort of looks the part for an Explorer, and There's a lot of different tonal qualities that this guitar has that maybe that one doesn't, and vice versa. Same pickups, same hardware, same everything. So I did want our Explorer to be like the one at Dave's Guitar Shop in La Crosse, Wisconsin, the one in the collection upstairs. It's more orange and kind of smoked looking. Really cool. Love making these Explorers and these wild guitars. Don't know how many I'll make, but once again, these guitars do not have any Gibson components on them except for the pickup rings and the case. The guitar is rock and roll. The tone is rock and roll. It feels great and looks the part. Our 4-ply pickguard kind of finishes off the whole appearance to it. One-piece bodies would have been nice, but man, it's hard to find wood wide enough for one-piece bodies. So we'll be doing that in the future. Custom orders, things I wouldn't have thought of doing. And getting them out to the satisfied customers is a lot of fun. Hanging out with the customers, talking to them on the phone, it's just a lot of fun. So really enjoying it. Thanks for visiting Dave's World.